How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Chaf Beis, Daf 22 of Masechta Sotah. Friends, we gotta do it quick over here because I don't know where I am. And well, I know where I am, but nobody's home right now, and I don't know when people are gonna come home. It could be in a minute, it could be in an hour. I don't know. So I'm gonna have to assume that it's gonna be sooner rather than later. So that we just gotta go for it. So. Daf Chav Beis Amud Aleph, second line of the page, Itmar. It was stated, Kar v'shanav l'shimish tamidei chachom. Rabbi Elazar Omer harei zam ha'aretz. Oh, so yesterday at the end of the daf, we were talking about sneaky nudniks, and we mentioned at the end somebody who learned Tanakh and Mishnayos, but never learned Gemara to really understand the depth of how everything kind of comes together and the reasons behind the halachas. So now, in a similar vein, we're saying Itmar, so if somebody learns Tanakh and Mishnayos, but he never learns Gemara to ask questions and resolve things and figure out the really what's going on in the halachas. So Rabbi Elazar Omer harei zam ha'aretz. Rabbi Elazar says that that's an am ha'aretz. Of course, an am ha'aretz, you can't trust that he separates Trumas and Maasros. So an am ha'aretz. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani Omer harei ze bur. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani says he's a bur. Says Rashi, a bur is worse than an am ha'aretz. Rabbi Yanai Omer harei ze kuti. Rabbi Yanai says he's a kuti. Rabbi Acha bar Yaakov Omer harei ze mogosh. He's a mogosh, a machshefer, a witch or a wizard or a magician. Omer Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak mistavik Rav Acha bar Yaakov. Says Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak that Rav Acha bar Yaakov taka makes sense that he's like a magician, like a incantationer, a machshefer, a mechashef. The Omer damir inche roten magoyshe v'leyoda my Omer, that just like a mogosh, a mechashef, he says these incantations, but he doesn't know what they do, right? It's like in Harry Potter, they mention this, these magician magic sayings. They don't know what they mean, but they do things. At least I don't think they know what they mean. I don't know. I don't remember Harry Potter that good. Tanitana v'lo my Omer. Just like those machshefers, they say stuff and they don't actually know what they mean. So here also, he knows Mishnayos, but if he's not going to learn Gemara, so he can quote Mishnayos and stuff. He doesn't know why the halacha is the way it is, or what's going on, or if there was an issue, he wouldn't know what actually the problem is, or if there was another Mishnah, some other place that contradicts it, he wouldn't know, and he wouldn't know what to do about it. So he's just saying stuff, but he doesn't really know what it means. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Eizu am ha'aretz, who's an am ha'aretz, kol she'enu koreh kriyash mashachris v'arvis b'birchoseh divrei Meir. So Meir says that a fellow does not read Kriyash Shema in the morning and in the evening with its blessings, so that is an am ha'aretz. Person doesn't put on tefillin, am ha'aretz. Benazai Omer, kol she'enu tzitzis bivigdoi. Benazai says the fellow doesn't have tzitzis on his garments, he's an am ha'aretz. Rabbi Yonasan ben Yosef Omer, kol she'yesh leibonim en megadlin lumad Torah. Fellow has sons and he doesn't raise them to study the Holy Torah. Acherim omim afilu koreh v'shoyne v'lo yishimish tamidei chachomim, and says Acherim that even if a fellow reads Tanakh and studies Mishnayos, but he doesn't learn Gemara, zeu am ha'aretz, that's an am ha'aretz koreh v'leshano. Now if a fellow reads Tanakh but he doesn't learn any Mishnayos at all, right, he doesn't even get that far, how is a bur? He's a bur, which we said is worse than an am ha'aretz. Now if he did neither, not Tanakh, not Mishnayos, all of a cost of Omer, the pasuk says about this fellow, V'zaraiti as Beis Yisrael, as Beis Yehuda zera Adam zera behema. I will seed in the house of Israel and the house of Judah the seed of man and the seed of animals. Yiras Hashem b'ni v'melech, my son, fear God, what, and also kings? Is that what it means? V'imshonim al tasarif. Now, do not fraternize with the shonim. So, Omer Rabbi Yitzchak elu sheshonim halachos. So, Rabbi Yitzchak says that these are the people who just learn Mishnayos, but again, they don't learn the Gemara. They don't actually understand what they mean. They're just like learning Mishnayos and pretending like they know what they're talking about. Pshita, obviously you shouldn't fraternize with people who only learn Mishnayos. Well, I may have thought to say that it means not, what shonim means is people who sin more than one time. Like Rafuna, that if a fellow does a sin and then does it nachamo, does it a second time, hutralo, in his eyes, it's already become permitted, right? Right. Well, before you've done the sin, so then it seems like a terrible thing. Once you've done it once, then you've done it a second time, already it doesn't seem so bad anymore. So therefore, we're saying that what the pasuk means, right? Do not fraternize with the shonim. It's not talking about the people who sin multiple times. It's talking about people who learn Mishnayos but no Gemara, and they then present themselves as though they know what they're talking about. Tana atanoim mivale elam. So we say that they are kind of messing up the world. Why? What are they doing wrong? As long as they keep it to themselves, who cares? Well, the problem is that they don't keep it to themselves, right? They only know Mishnayos. They don't actually know the Gemara. They don't know why the Mishnah says what it is, or maybe there's an earlier Mishnah or a later Mishnah that says differently, or maybe there's a machlokes in Mishnayos and you have to understand how to resolve it. They don't know these things, and instead they're passing halacha from these Mishnayos. So it's a mod nazach. So therefore, do not fraternize with these individuals. Tani Namiochi, Vitaka Oichet Lun in a Braise, Amr Yoshua, B'chimavale Elam Hein, are they destroying the world? Vale Miyajve Elam Hein. What do you mean? The Taka doing a gutazach. Right? Learning Torah is a gutazach. Right? So therefore, what are they doing wrong? Shenemar Alichus Elam Lui. Right? That the ways of the right, the halachis are the ways of the world. The problem is that they're passing halacha from Mishnayos alone, but you have to know the Gemara. You have to go deeper. So Isha Prusha v'chulei. So we talked about that an Isha Prusha is a mevale olam. So Tanarbanim Besulat Salinus, a Besula who is I guess getting involved in relationships without getting married. V'amona Shevovis, or a widow who's becoming very, very friendly with the neighbors. V'kohen shlokololo chodashev, and a youngin who has not reached the end of his months, and we're going to explain what that means. They're like causing problems with the world. So, is this really true? But didn't Rabbi Yochanan say, Fakert, Lamadnu Yiraschet mi Besula? We learn a fear of sin from a Besula. V'kibul Sachuk me Almona, and receiving of reward from a widow. Yiraschet mi Besula, how do we see a fear of sin from a Besula? Rabbi Yochanan, Shomalai Besula, Dinafla Apo V'kamra, because Rabbi Yochanan heard a certain Besula who fell on her face, and she said, meaning she like in prayer, Ribono shel olam, Master of the world, Varaisa Gan Eden, Varaisa Gehenim, you created the Garden of Eden, and you also created hell. Barasat Tzadikim Varas Rishoyim, you created the righteous, and you created the Nudnik. Yehi Ratzon Milfanecha, Yiratzon Milfanecha Shlo Yikash Lubi B'nei Adam. And this Besula says, may it be the will before you that nobody should fail on account of me. Receiving a reward from a widow. There was a widow that there was a synagogue in her town. And even though there was a synagogue in her town, nonetheless she would walk all the way to the Beis HaMedrash of Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Yochanan says to this widow, Biti, lo Beis HaKnesses b'shivavusech, isn't there a synagogue in your neighborhood? How come you come to my Beis HaMedrash? And she responded, Rebbe, but I get the reward for walking to the Beis HaMedrash. So yes, there is a synagogue that's closer, but I'd rather walk further to get to the Beis HaMedrash so I can get the reward of the steps. So we see that why are you making a whole big deal about Basulas and Almanas? Take, we saw some very good examples very stark examples of Basulas and Almonas. So Kikaomer Kigon Yochni ben Retivi. When we're saying that it's Mevali Olam, it's like Yochni ben Retivi. She was a widow who was a machshefer. And Rashi describes how basically when women would give birth, she would basically do some kind of witchcraft, and then the baby wouldn't be able to come out, and then she would say, "Oh, I'll take care of you," and then she would go and undo her witchcraft, and it was kind of bad, a mess. So she is a Mevali Olam. But these other Besulas and Almonas are the holiest of the holy, the sweetest, the holiest of the holiest, the sweetest, the holiest of the holy, the sweetest of the sweet. Okay, fine. My kohen shelo kolu chodashav. What does it mean, a youngin who has not completed his months? Hacha tagimo zet Talmud Chacham invite b'rabosav. See, here in Bavel, they explain that it's a Talmud Chacham who rebels against his teachers. Reb Abba Omar zet Talmud shlegiel le'ira u'moire. Says Reb Abba that this is a student who was not able to paskin halacha yet, and yet he does, right? He's not yet on the level where he's able to teach halacha, and yet he already is. What does it mean that it killed lots of people and lots of people died? So that there's a lot of dead corpses. So that's an account of a Talmud Chacham who has not yet reached the level where he could be teaching halacha umore, and yet he is passing halacha. Batzum kol harugel, and there were lots of people killed. Zeh Talmud Chacham shegiel lo ve'inamora. This is faket. This is a Talmud Chacham who is on the level of being able to paskin halacha, and yet he does not. Vadkamo, and at what point can you start paskining halacha? Right? Until what point are you considered premature? Until you're 40 years old. Ini, is that true? Rabba, Ori. But of course, Rabba was the Rosh Yeshiva in Pumbedisa, and as we learned in Masechta Rosh Hashanah, as Rashi points out, that Rabba died at the age of 40. Right? He was from the descendants of Eli, and he died young at the age of 40. So, and he obviously was passing halacha, so b'shavin. So even if you're less than 40, if you're on the same level as the rabbi in the city, or if you're the greatest person in the city, so then even if you're younger than 40, you'd be able to paskin halacha. There's some sunflower people outside, but I don't have time to worry about them right now. Umakas prushin v'chulei, and also people who are hurting themselves. So they're also Mevali Olam. Tana Rabbanan Shiva Prushanin. There are 7 examples of people who are doing this. Parush Shichmi, Parush Nakvi, Parush Kizoi, Parush Maduchya, Parush Machivosi Ve'asena, Parush Me'ahava, Parush Me'ir. Those are the 7. Parush Shichmi. What's Parush Shichmi? Zeh Osa Maise Shrem. A fellow does Maise Shrem. What's Maise Shrem? Well, in Shrem they got bris milas, but they didn't get it for the right reasons. They just did it because Shrem wanted to marry Dinah, and then they convinced everybody to get a bris milah, but not exactly for the right reasons. So also somebody who's doing stuff, but not for the right reasons. Parush Nakvi Man Kifes Raglav. That's a person who walks barefoot in such a way that he's cuts his feet open when he does it and making a mess. Parush Kizoi, Omer V'Nachum Bayitzchak Ze Amak is Dom L'Chsolom. It's a fellow who he's so religious that he keeps his eyes closed, that he shouldn't see any women, and because of that he keeps on bumping into the wall and bleeding. Parush Meduchya, Omer Rabba Bashila de Mishapeki Maduchya. He walks with his back bent like a mortar or something. I guess he's pretending to be all humble. Parush Machovasi Ve'asenu. A guy who says, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Wait, but isn't that a good thing? Interesting. Elo de Omar Machovasi Su Ve'asenu. No, what he's saying is, is there anything else that I need to do? Okay, I've done everything, but is there anything else I need to do? Posh Me'ahava, Posh Me'ir, and finally, somebody who, does mitzvahs, out of love, right? Because he wants to get reward, or out of fear of getting punished. But really as Rashi says, you should do mitzvahs kashet tzivani Hashem Elikoi, right? Kashet tzivon Hashem Elikenu v'sofa socher lavada. You shouldn't do mitzvahs for reward. You should do mitzvahs because the Eibishter wants you to do mitzvahs. In the end, you'll get your reward, sure, but that isn't why you do it. So now, So now Amrulei Abaye vi Rave Litana. So now Abaye and Rave said that Lo Tisni Parush Mehava Parush Mir. Don't list doing mitzvahs out of ahava or yira as a bad thing, because at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, a fellow should study Torah and do mitzvahs, even if it's not for the right reasons. Because even if it's not for the right reasons now, eventually it'll be for the right reasons. So therefore, it's okay even to do mitzvahs mitoch ahava, mitoch yira, all good. It'll work out in the end. Hamar of Nachman by Yitzchak, the metamer, the megalia, the galia. Says of Nachman by Yitzchak, that which is hidden, that which is revealed. But Beidina Rabba, Lisper Mehani, Dechofu Gunde. But at the end of the day, from the Bezdin, from the Sanhedrin, and I guess the point is also from God, you can't play games. In this world, what's hidden is hidden, what's revealed is revealed. But before God or before the Sanhedrin, everything is revealed. There's no hiding stuff. Okay. Omar lo Yanai Malkul Devise. So of course Yanai, as we know from way back when in Masechta Brachos, basically killed all of the rabbis. And he was married to Shimon ben Shotach's sister. Anyways, so Yanai, the king, before he died, so he says to his wife, Al Tasari min Prushin. Don't worry about the Prushin, right? He was a Tzeduki, but he says, don't worry about the Prushin. They're not going to harm you. And obviously you don't have to worry about the people who aren't Tzedukim. They're of course not going to harm you. They're on my side. But you should be wary of the colorful people. Shedomin the Prushin, that they make themselves look like Prushin. Shemaisem kemaise Zimri, umavakshin socher kepinchis. That they act like Zimri, but they want to get the reward of Pinchas, right? They do whatever they want. They don't do the right thing, but they make it look on the outside like they're doing the right thing. Those people you have to watch out for. Friends, that was wrong. We didn't get interrupted. Friends, that was Daf Eibishter helped us. That was Daf Chav Beis Masechta Sotah. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.